I want to touch on this topic here as it pertains to my main three, which are the Kapatids by heart, Kirill, Christine, and Kriza. And look, the key phrase involved in this topic is year and a half. All right. So as you know, after that one misunderstanding where it caused Kriza to be super upset at me and now suddenly hate me, that was when I left Facebook. And I had no, like, for whatever reason, she didn't appear on my messages or on the Facebook whatchamacallit, on my Facebook Messenger and the what is it, and also on the friend list in Facebook. But she appeared on my other account, which is the Nas Rabbit one, right? So I must have thought she might have blocked me, but knowing the history of our friendship on Facebook, she for whatever reason, we're always being unfriended, or we were always being unfriended. I don't know why that is, but I don't know. It's, who knew what the reason was for why. It just seems like Facebook just does not like us being friends, right? That's just how I feel, but what the hell do I know, right? So I was, that's when I started to leave Facebook and, take another huge break. This time it was for a year and a half. Now, as you know, I was notorious for leaving Facebook or social media many times. I started with 2 months in late 2016, and then Mario was there at the time, and then 2017 for a little bit, and then once again 5 months in 2017. Later in that same year, 2017, then maybe like 1 month in 2018, 19. I was notorious for leaving, right? Now, why you may ask? Why did I leave that many times? Because I just had to deal with my very strong emotions as to things not going my way on Facebook and all that. Some things just irritate me that, even though it's not my fault, it caused some misunderstandings to some of my closest friends. And look, Kriza was not the only one. I know she got really upset at me to the point where she hated me, didn't want to be friends with me, and I got super pissed because I blamed Facebook and the fact that my original account always had issues. And then next thing you know, another one in Rhea, where for whatever reason she has not been seeing my messages every time I talk to her on Messenger. And they're not really gonna see these videos, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Not that it even matters at this point, because they're both of my ex-close friends. That they were two of my, well, I did have feelings for them. Okay, Kriza, she was somebody special, a special friend of mine, even though she was my Kapatid by heart. And Rhea, same way. They were two of my biggest crushes. And, unfortunately, and I had my reasons for leaving due to some of these, misunderstandings to these particular friends. So, look, I was out for a year and a half, and then I came back, what was it, like late 2019, right? Or, so 2019. And for the most part, it just seemed like that's when I thought things were not the same between me and all three of these companies by heart. I mean, Kirill, the last time we spoke prior to my year and a half leaving, she she was still a popster. She was still supported Sarah, like big time. Sarah supported. She was part of the group. She used to be part of the Foster Babies group, and then when I came back, she changed drastically. She was more into anime. She was more into reading books, and it seemed like she just became disinterested in talking to me in general. Okay, so look, man, it just sucks, but Karel has already, changed her personality, changed her, I guess, her interests and all that. I won't say changed, but she has developed new interests to where she, the fact that she's not approaching me the same way as before, and I'm the one always approaching her. And in the case of Christine, well, she was still somewhat approachable, but not nearly to the extent that it was, when we first met. My goodness, I remember when we first met, she kept on messaging me of the times that I was going out. She was impatient, and look, I did appreciate our friendship, but I did not appreciate at that time that, about what happened there, right? So, but yeah, for the most part, the way Christine treated me, in our first days of starting our friendship, it's almost like I'm a celebrity to her, like I'm her idol. And look, in the long run, we had such a great friendship, okay? And, we had a lot of memories, especially a lot of long conversations, to where I kept holding her up at night, So, yeah, man. But with Krista, I came back. It's like things just weren't the same. I'll tell you that much. And look, I already talked about my video about if I had remained in social media, that there will be a better chance me and Krista meet in person. I'm talking about in 2019, because when I was back as a whole different account, using my second account. I wasn't using my original then until the day Kobe tragically passed. But yeah, so it was kind of a last minute plan. Well, I won't say last minute, but it was planned. But at that time, Krista, because I was out of social media, I was out of Instagram and Facebook, at least until like around November, around the time of Christmas season. We chatted on Hangouts, and I thought we would have a chance, but I guess we didn't really talk enough about it. That it got to a point where on that day, which was a Sunday, we were supposed to meet, and ultimately she just forgot about me, or she just forgot about the plan, and the rest is history. So I was really pained about that, and it is what it is at that point. But yeah, for the most part, we still talked. But something just like when it comes to these three girls, these three ex-kapatids by heart, something just did not really. I mean, it just like the way they approached me, it just wasn't the same. It's almost like I'm the one that always approached them, right? And I know they're busy with school, and I get all that. I mean, there was even an instance when I made a birthday video presentation for her in late 2020, and I wasn't sure if she got it. And so when we had Mari show it to her, it's like Krista told her, "Hey, tell him that she misses me." Now look, I appreciate that, but why not tell me? It's just like, I mean, if I gotta use the basketball analogy, before I left for a year and a half, I was, my friend, these three ex-kapatids by heart were all in their prime. And I'm talking about prime socially on our friendships, So, I mean, that's I'm just using that as a basketball analogy, to describe how our friendships were before my year and a half leaving from social media, and so they were in their primes. Kriza, Christine, Kirill, right? Even though I was a lot closer with Christine and Kriza to begin with, having known them, back in 2015, right? So, and I just find my connections with them deeper because they were a whole lot more approachable to me than Kirill, at the level of Kirill's approach to me as a friend. And I'm not saying that Kirill was never approachable to me like that. No, she was, but just not at the level of that Christine and Kriza were very, very, I'm not gonna say attached, but like, just very, very much more approachable, in an emotional way, spiritual way, where we really have so many heartfelt, moments, and especially in our chemistry. So yeah, but all in all, like these three girls, like, I had touched on them at one point sometime in February 2020, where they're just not the same to me. I feel like I gotta rewatch that video because I wanna get a clear, refreshing. I wanna actually refresh my mind of what I said about them, because it's clear to me that they just did not approach me the same. So, with all the memories we've had, prior to my year and a half leaving and since, I think it's without question a lot of our best, conversations, a lot of our strongest, chemistry was before my year and a half leaving. Okay? So now I pose the question, as I'm talking about it in this video right here, which is the purpose of this video, was it my fault that I left for a year and a half, or was it just their fault that they just chose to treat me differently? So let me ask that again. Is it me to blame, or is it them to blame? Because I've given it some thought, before I even start on this topic, and I just thought I'd make a video about it so I can get through it, as much as I can. So to answer this question, before I end this video, I did say a long time ago that, especially when I came back from a year and a half leaving, and during the shutdown, I was on the record that even in my many Facebook rants where I said I should never have left for a year and a half, even Angel was just really, and Mari too, they were both pissed off, annoyed greatly that I kept saying year and a half. So, it made it seem like I was the one to blame. And yes, it sounded like I blamed myself. But now that I'm out of social media, I think I'm still gonna blame myself. Yeah, I think it's without question, I'm still gonna blame myself for having left that long. Now look, I've said it in the beginning of this video that I was notorious for having left Facebook or social media just several times when I thought, the first time was just it, and ultimately after that, I just kept leaving and coming back. So it's like, arguably, some people could say it's load management on my part, but the point is, I've been out a lot. I was notorious for leaving on social media so much so that when it finally came to my year and a half leaving, I think it just I mean, I'm not saying it made everyone think of me differently. At least that's when, after the obvious happened with the shattering of my friend circle. But, you know, guys like Angel, Lovely Mel, Jessica, Marielle, Pearl Jane, Rhea, Shy, they still treated me the same even when I came back from a year and a half leaving. They still treated me the same. Same loyalty, same level of kindness, same approach to me since even before my year and a half leaving. So look, I could have been, would have, could have, should have. I could have, I could have recognized, showed so much more recognition for them instead of me obsessing over the loss of my ex Kapatids by heart, especially Kriza, and that is as if it seems like they were the ones that cared for me more than these guys did. And that's what it seemed like. So, looking back, I should have showed more recognition to them. And, the thing is, I don't have all of them anymore, right? And it's, I just thought that I'd express this, and yes, I'm still going to blame myself for having made, it's almost like, it just makes me look weak. And not just look weak, but makes me weak in general about what I've done on social media. And look, I totally regret, except maybe for the one time I did it, I regret doing the rest. Because when I just had so many of my sensitivity moments, and it's just not, it's just not fair that I've done it that way, and to see just to eventually get to this point where I left for a year and a half, and next thing you know, these guys have never seen me the same way. Now, should I have blamed them too? I really don't want to, even though, because some of these guys, I'm talking about the ones who did continue to show me loyalty. They had told me, mostly as it was about Krista, that, she did not treat you, that they were telling me that they're not my real friends like that. They would never, show up and, just all of a sudden not caring for me like that anymore as I used to. But in the end, I still want to say it's that I'm to blame for my year and a half leaving, and that I think these guys, I can't really say this for us, I can't really say it for them and how I think they felt or how they felt, but I can only speculate that they must have missed me so much that after being out for that long, I think at that point they just didn't care. And I remember, and I'll never forget this, when I was out the first time, I'm talking about in late 2016, Christine was hollering and looking for me. I remember that when Mari was there, she told me, hey, that Christine was looking for me. And at that time, I think Christine was definitely in her prime. When she, just like Krista, socially in their prime, as far as their treatment of me and showing their loyalty to me, friendship then, right? That's what I meant by saying they're in their prime. So I'll never forget that. But over time, after I kept doing all this, then I think I got them worn out to even think, well, he keeps leaving and we just had it, So look, man, it is what it is at this point. Yes, I still got to talk to them, but like I said, chemistry just wasn't the same. It didn't have the same feel as it did, the first, prior to my year and a half leaving. And what I mean, why I say that, it's because we had a much stronger bond. We had more heartfelt. I think we had a more heartfelt chemistry. We were, it was like very brother sister like, moments, especially in our conversations. And for goodness sake, I remember Chris defended me from some of the people that she thought were just, totally ignoring me, being ignorant to me and all that. Proud moment right there, huh? proud moment to show her prime. That's Chris on her prime. You know what I'm saying? Socially. But yeah, man, I just thought I'd touch on this, right? Let me get through. Okay, good. Hold on, let me get through before I end this video. Yeah, man, so I just thought I'd touch on this, and unfortunately, rest RIP to our friendships, and I hope they're all doing well. And life goes on. Do I ever see a future with these girls again? I don't know. Right now, I'm gonna say no if I'm still in this dump. But let's see when I do get a new job. I'm just so tired of applying, dude. Literally, I'm tired. I just like when you just give it your all in one interview where they thought, well, it looks like I got an opportunity here. Then all of a sudden, it was not an easy decision. They're gonna, we gotta pick the one that closely aligns with our needs. Life sucks, doesn't it? Thank you for watching, everyone. Like, share, and subscribe.